I agreed to review Session Skate Sim, which I should never have done. It's a terrible lack of foresight on my part. A skating game described by basically everyone who's ever looked upon it as the hardest fucking thing they've ever played. And I thought to myself, yes, James, that seems like right up your alley. You should definitely cover that for the site. A job which would require you to play hours and hours and hours of this game in order to get something resembling an objective perspective on it, which I cannot do because, again,
because it's just so hard.
well, also a little buggy, it turns out, which is really just the icing on the cake I truly did not need. But, I'm going to work through it.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I believe in you.
That's good. I don't. But I'm going to have to in order to get this thing done. Well,
Yeah, man, cripes, James, by your tone when you came in here, I had thought you made the decision that, like, killed somebody. I thought you did something, like, skate session.
yeah, well, listen.
You'll be fine.
Listen. I have to give off the appropriate gravitas in order to communicate how fucking angry I am at myself for agreeing to do this assignment when there's like easily a baker's dozen games that I've covered for the site that I was like, man, I should never do something like this again. Did I listen? No, obviously not.
Yeah.
Heart full of gold and a head full of fucking straw, this one.
Yeah.
I got a couple of those too.
Yeah.
Dark Souls 2 and Neo 2.
Yeah, that sounds like something I would hope that I would not have the wherewithal to try and review.
Yeah.
Yeah, as it turns out, those games are fucking impossible if you can't look up how to do things.
Yeah.
If someone else hasn't already done it, it's impossible. It can't be done. So I guess what we're saying is don't review games.
Yeah. Or equipment. I was going to say this microphone that I'm using, exact same situation. It arrived, it required a bunch of stuff that I didn't have. It was such a pain in the ass, and I was deeply, deeply regretting taking the review on for the entire time I had it. But now that it's done, couldn't be happier with it. So I guess
it sounds like money.
Yeah. Rhett, you've got like a party time situation happening vis-a-vis the lights. I just wanted to point that out.
I was just streaming actually. What was I playing? Witcher 3. Our Witcher 3 video series is coming along swimmingly.
Okay, great. I'm so glad to hear it, Rhett.
Mm-hmm.
That's excellent news.
And what kind of Geralt are you?
Henry Cavill. And I mean, hey, it's only a channel that has your name all over it, so I'd figure you'd want me to be doing shit like this. Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, James?
Yes.
Yes.
Did we come in with the energy like what you were doing was bad, Rhett? Like
you just had this tone in your voice, like who gives a fuck about what you're doing?
I'm sorry, that could not be farther from the truth. Yeah. I think it's essential work that you're doing to keep the channel up and popping, keep it uploading. So, I mean, YouTube likes it, and I'm sure our audience also appreciates it.
Yeah, all two of them.
Listen, it's a audience with potential and room for growth. Okay, there's think of all the people you could still reach. A lot of them, a lot of people, most of them.
Oh, no
most
doubt,
of the people.
No doubt.
I'm going to say, I feel like the skate thing was just kind of creeping back in there, giving a little bit of flavor to his thoughts about your streaming. So it's definitely not you. It is definitely difficult skateboarding.
I definitely had the strongest possible impulse to break some kitchen equipment while I was cooking dinner. It was very difficult to put all that behind me and not destroy something that I'd have to work to replace, you know? And I feel okay about that.
But aside from the difficulty, is it at least good?
It's quite difficult for me to say, Rhett, because have unfortunately seen very little of the game due to the aforementioned bugginess. There's a mission that just sort of isn't missioning.
Right.
And I can't really think of a way so far to get it to do that. Like, I don't know what, because it's like, it's all very automatic where it's just like you start up the game and it's like, all right, go skate. So you're just back right where you were. There's no like manual save files you can go in and fuck with. I might try to like reinstall the game or like create a different skater or something like that just so I can try to get that mission to trigger properly. Because the game is hard as dicks, but it is cool when you pull things off. But you desperately need feedback to know whether or not you're supposed to be doing something. And I am disheartened by the fact that a very large amount of people have put forth queries to Google saying, hey, something's up with this mission. Not encouraging. Doesn't look good, honestly. But we're gonna make it work. Or it will be a very short review, friends. Ha ha!
Could it be COG Connected's first 0? Could not play the game, non-functional.
I mean, if I couldn't start it up and it was the fault of them and not like my hardware, but like I can do all those things. It's it's fine. It's just buggy and
you're screwed, bud. You're just gonna have to suck it up and get through.
What is the lowest score y'all have ever given a game?
I think 35 for Y2K.
Ooh.
Yep.
I remember reviewing a game. I think it was called Hatred.
Oh yeah,
dark. It was like Postal, but more unhinged, and it just was not good.
Okay.
I think that was in the 20s.
Good God. Oof. Yeah, that's fair.
Followed closely by like Fallout 76 and Cyberpunk on the Xbox One. Both of those games got 30s.
Okay. I mean, quick aside, because I'm sure you have a whole lot of stuff to talk about. Anything good y'all been playing recently? No matter what it may be.
Oh, I'll tell you what I've been pleasantly surprised by. No Man's Sky. I hadn't fired that bad boy up in years, probably.
Yeah,
and it is really fucking good now.
Yeah, I've had a friend that's been playing it since launch. He had bought his PlayStation 4 for No Man's Sky, so he's been there from day one, as disappointed as anyone when it first launched. And him too, he says now it's like fantastic. Yeah, if it had launched like this, you'd be talking about Hello Games very differently, I think.
Yeah, I'd be really curious to see what they do next. If that means a No Man's Sky 2 or something else. Yeah, it's ticking all the boxes now. It's not missing anything. It's got good flight mechanics. It's got good ship combat mechanics. It's got good ground combat mechanics. It has story. It has mining and base building, and they're all good features.
Really good VR support. If you want to go that route, you can, all kinds of different ways to play it.
Not tried the VR. I should do that.
I recommend it. The flying, like taking off in your ship for the first time will be really cool.
That's true. Any space game is pretty rad in VR.
Yeah. I've been playing The Witcher 3.
Okay. Yeah.
But
still don't have an answer here. Like, what kind of Geralt are you? Like,
I'm Henry.
How are you handling the?
I'm Henry Cavill.
The Skelligas of the world.
But that's not exactly an answer. For those of us who have not absorbed the TV show in every possible permutation.
I haven't seen the show.
Okay, so Rhett, I'm going to stop you right there. it feels like maybe you don't have a super tight grip on a Henry Cavill style Witcher if you've never seen the Henry Cavill style Witcher. I feel like that's a very important component in playing a Henry Cavill style Witcher.
No, I literally am Henry Cavill. I modded his face onto Geralt.
So you're bringing that big Cavill energy.
Oh yeah, big time, big dick swinging. But how I'm playing it, all about gold. Couldn't care less really about people. You know, here and there, I have been, you know, showing a little bit of humanity. But at the end of the day, from what I understand, the lore says Witchers are all about that gold first and foremost, right? All about that coin. Toss a coin to your Witcher. So that's the philosophy that I've kept in mind. Also, I haven't been sleeping around because I've been waiting for Yennefer to, you know, yeah, come to. So,
My man.
yeah. There's been plenty of chances to sleep around. It's been crazy. I'm 20 hours in and I've had there's been 5 opportunities to cheat on her already. It's madness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The tests are out there, man.
You
just got to stay strong.
It's too much. I'm staying strong though. I'm staying strong. James, what have you been playing?
Well, I played and finished the new Saints Row. I liked it a lot more than Rhett did. So
really?
that's been fun. Yeah. Yeah,
I watched the first 30 minutes of it and I was like, whoop, this is rough.
Paul, you would hate it if you played it. I promise you, you would hate that game if you played it.
Maybe I should pick it up.
Yeah.
Bitch about it.
Yeah. But sorry, James, go on.
Well, I've been confused, you see, because I know roughly what a Saints Row game is supposed to be, for me at least, and this one delivers. I found the writing perfectly serviceable. I feel like the graphics are kind of rough in spots. It feels weird that this game came out in 2022, but everything that they have done is mostly reasonably polished and complete, if not weirdly last gen in some cases. The character models look decent. It just feels in service of making any one specific element of it particularly detailed. They just made sure that everything was a solid 6 or 7 out of 10 visually. They're listen, we're gonna hit that mark, we're gonna hit it hard, we're gonna make sure we get there for every element of the game, and they did. They aimed no higher. But for me, the ideal open world crime simulator is one where I can customize my character and dress in the craziest fit possible and commit horrible crimes and just sort of fuck around. And the game really wants you to do that kind of and ignore the main story where they're just no, listen, the narrative is fine, but you have an empire to build, right? It's just so that's what you're supposed, that's where you're sort of pushed with the games, with the mechanics and whatnot, where it's no, all that shit doesn't matter. Build your empire. And then when you do that, and if that's the sort of thing you're into, it's great. If you're into if you're into the superfluous bullshit, it's a wonderful time. If you have a lot of baggage you're carrying around with you about what Saints Row should be, Rhett, then you're going to hate it. You're going to fucking hate it. Also, for the record, not a prequel. It's a reboot. So just, we're not oh, it's the story of the Saints before all the other games. It's nah, they're just starting over.
Right. It's the creation of the Saints.
Yeah, it's just, yeah, I don't know. I had fun. It was compelling. I just wanted to do it all, and then I did it all, and then I was done. It's all right, that was cool. Although one thing that was really funny was the very last portion of the final boss fight, where you're just literally execution style taking this dude out. they, for some unfathomable fucking reason, decided they wanted to institute some sort of like weird alternate kind of like shaky cam thing, which they had clearly not really tested. So when I do this thing where I like shoot this guy for the last time, his character model does this like crazy like whippy dippy loopy doopy Ferris wheel fucking thing before he just sort of like T-poses and falls over. It was just like, no, they obviously did not test this particular part of the camera and the visuals nearly enough. It was amazing.
Question, doesn't every game on Earth do that now, though? Where you're trying to build your empire, there's lots of stuff to do, you're unlocking locations and regions, you're clearing outposts, and...
Kind of, but like...
But don't most of them do a pretty good job of that already?
I mean, okay, so as a counterexample, a little earlier this year, I tried to get into Far Cry 5, which is you building up a base of operations, expanding an empire, helping people out. There's no character customization, so it's automatically losing points in my book. But you know, it's got a decent combat system and whatnot, except I found it tedious and frustrating and fucking stupid. I was just like, I can't keep up with this. This is so goddamn annoying. Games like this, to me, are vessels for escapist bullshit, where it's just like, I want to have a little 30-hour power fantasy and fuck around and become a god and just, you know, do cool shit. But like those games, it's more like, no, it has to be, you have to really grind and really struggle and really fucking make it happen. You have to worry about all this other ammunition and shit. And there's all these like concessions to realism they throw in. And it's just like, no, fuck off. No, get out of here. I don't care about any of that. That's the thing that Saints Row did, which I really enjoyed. We were just like, no, we're not attempting in any way to make this feel real or immersive in the slightest. You know, it's just like, no, it's a fucking video game. Okay. There's no consequences for trashing the cars you own. There's no consequences for death, really, of any sort. There's no consequences for, like, anything you fucking do. You can drive very fast and escape the police, or, like, finish a mission and automatically lose all your notoriety. It's fine. Who gives a fuck? And I'm like, it's just like, it was specifically what I was looking for. It was just like, I just want something where I can like shut off the top 10% and just fucking go. And I did, and it was great.
That's fair.
Yeah. And the writing honestly was not to me as bad as people were making it out to be. I don't know where...
so bad. It's so bad. It's such fucking woke nonsense bullshit. Oh, happy times, Candyland. Hey! Oh, we're all best friends. And what the hell was that?
That was me yelling at you over the microphone angrily.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm going to say this one time and one time only. I do not throw down or fuck with the use of that 4-letter word in a pejorative term under any goddamn circumstances, no matter what they may be. Okay? I just don't. It's a hard line with me. It's a very hard line. Okay? I hear people doing that, and immediately, I see red, figuratively and literally. And it's because it's just like, for one thing, there's none of what you would consider that in this game. It's factually incorrect. For another, that way leads to the dark side. Just, you know what I mean? Do it. I can go on for a while if I want, but I don't want to. But I could. But I don't want to. I would prefer not to. So, you know, there's that.
So you're saying pick another 4-letter word.
Well, yes, and maybe examine the concepts behind your need to use that 4-letter word. More than the choice of vocabulary, look at yourself and say, why would I want to use that term in a pejorative fashion? Why would I want to strike down these things? Why do I want to attack these ideas?
Right.
How badly do I want James to reach to the screen and fight me physically? Is it very badly? Is it a little bit badly? Also, I kind of apologize, but not really, because it actually really does bother me.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry to go to 11 on that one, but I don't know. It's how I feel.
I mean, I've got questions for both of you, but I feel like we're gonna drop it for now. Maybe we'll come back to this in an episode where we're all prepared for it.
That's a great idea. I would love that. I would love that.
Let's do that. Because I need to tell you all about a little game called Middle-earth: Shadow of War.
Ooh.
Tell me about this game.
Rules. It's old. It's based on the Assassin's Creed 2 engine. And it is so good. It was made by Warner Brothers? Some kind of Warner Brothers team? I don't know. But it has great Lord of the Rings lore. It has cool characters. It develops the character of Shelob the Spider, who is also a lady. It has a cool Nemesis system, which I was convinced would make its way into other games, but it never has. And it is hella fun. It's so good.
There's one of those on Game Pass, isn't there not?
That's the one.
Okay.
Yep.
Because I wasn't sure which of the two Shadow Mordor, Shadow Wars it was.
Mordor was the first one. War is the second one.
Okay.
But you don't need to play the first one. The second one's better.
Well, it seemed like one of the things where they just expand iteratively on the mechanics, and you don't super need to like experience the previous ones because this is kind of the one, right? Now, like it supersedes the previous one.
Yes. And just to break it down, it gets rid of all those things that were bad about the old Assassin's Creed games. You know, your character jumping the wrong direction and you fall to your death. There's no fall damage. You're inhabited by a wraith, so you can jump off the highest building in the universe and you will land perfectly fine. You can lock on to fight orcs that are very far away and jump back and forth between them in a kind of Arkham combat that I don't know if this came out before or after Arkham, but it's very Arkham-y. And when you roll up against one of the enemy captains that's on the Nemesis list, they smack talk like you would not believe. Especially if you get your ass killed by them. Because you can't die, quote unquote, in the game. You can die, but you come back to life. So the next time you see them, man, do they smack talk you. Like, you're such a bitch. I'm going to whoop your ass again. And you're like, no, you're not. No, you're not.
That alone seems like it's worth getting into it. Just to hear enemies, lay it out when you get near them. Because I got to say, I don't know if I've really seen that in that dynamic fashion. Any other game before?
Yeah, it's super good. And what kind of brought it all together is kind of a small thing, but the lip syncing and the way that the characters emote and perform makes you feel like this is not a game that's almost 10 years old. It's really good.
Well, is it just like the Warner Brothers money piles that they just knew what to spend it on, or like I don't know. I it sort of does a disservice to the actual development studio because it's obviously they put in a lot of good work and they really made it happen. But I assume the budget was probably part of it.
Yeah, I'm sure the budget was big, but I'm also sure the budget was smaller than a lot of games that do it wrong. Because there's a lot of lines of dialogue. You can talk, pretty much every enemy captain you run up against is a different character. They've got different personality, different smack talk. I've not heard the same stuff twice.
Huh. Dope.
And yeah, probably played in the dozens of hours. Let's say multi-dozens.
Multi-dozen. Okay. Dope.
Would highly recommend. Highly recommend.
I've been kind of looking for something else on Xbox to take up my time because I've been playing entirely too much fucking Stardew Valley and I have to get off that shit because it is a long road with no end. Turns out that once you finish the community center, there's a lot of stuff to do, and it is all quite difficult. I've been discovering it's a lot of work.
Well, if you want a different road with no end, Shadow of War.
Nope.
It gives you there's a screen where you can look at the enemy hierarchy and all the captains that, are standing between you and success in whatever region you're in. And I did attempt in one playthrough to try and kill all the captains before dying. And it turns out at some point, it just starts to fill in. New captains get promoted. You cannot kill all of them. So there's always something to do, and they've always got some weird thing about them. Maybe they're immune to stealth, or maybe they're scared of flies, or maybe being attacked by a beast kills them in one hit. Very interesting. Great game.
It occurs to me that I'm sitting here with this thing in my hand like a fucking chump, and I gotta get one of the sick mic stands you're rocking there, Rhett.
Yeah, it's an arm like attached to the side of the desk.
That, did that? What did that run you? How'd you come across that bad boy?
It was about $100. Again, going back to this microphone, it's like a heavy 4-pound condenser microphone.
Okay.
So I needed to spend a little bit more than the usual $20 or $30 on Amazon that these usually go for. But yeah, you can get a good one for like $100. It'll hold any microphone you got, and you'll be good to go.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
I might have to do that because this is a bitch move right here. I feel like I should be doing this. I feel like I got to move on.
Yeah, remember when I had that little mod microphone and I held it between my thumb and forefinger, Bob Barker style? I did that for a couple months. That was pretty sweet.
Yeah, but that's great. You could go the whole way. You could get a little fucking tie, and you go like, come on down to the Showcase Showdown. Like one of those kind of things. I don't know. I have not watched that show in several decades. It's been some years.
You should take a look at it because Drew Carey is looking more and more like Bob Barker with every passing day.
Huh? Is that like a the Santa Claus kind of thing where you like take over the job and you eventually become that person?
It might be.
Huh?
It might be. He is quite slim, and he is quite gray on the top.
Well, it's been an incalculable amount of years. I'm going to say close to 30 since the Drew Carey show, which that's a little march of time.
That's shocking and upsetting, and I want you to stop.
Yes. I hate those fucking feel old yet. Here's a thing that happened exactly this many years ago. Turned to dust, motherfucker. Yeah.
So what else? We've all been playing anything else, or should we talk about some news? Because there's probably a good 3 months of news.
I feel like there's a few things that have happened in our absence since we last did a proper episode that really bear talking about. But let's talk about the one that happened pretty recently that was pretty large and in charge. Guys?
The
I'm
GTA
speaking,
leak?
of course. The GTA leak! The GTA leak! The GTA leak. That's right! Speaking of the Saints Rows and the games like the Saints Rows, there's the objectively superior forefather ready to come back swinging. But lo and behold, the dev footage comes out, and the game is, in fact, in development. And it looks like it's in development and several years away from being finished. And everybody was really, really mean, and it hurt the devs' feelings so much, so obviously, that other developers were like, hey, guess what, motherfuckers? Here's what my amazing award-winning beautiful game looked like at this particular phase. The one that I saw was somebody from Control, or from Remedy. They showed off Control, like in year 1 or whatever, their dev time, and it looked pretty busted.
At some point, every game is a bunch of snowmen bopping around a shapeless, formless world. So, when they started making this game, they took Red Dead 2, they deleted all the assets, they deleted all the maps, they deleted all the audio and characters and animations and everything, and then they started from scratch. What did you think was going to happen? Of course it's not done.
Yeah, it's going to look like ass until it doesn't. It's the magic of video games.
And then it still might. It still might. It's still a Rockstar game, so it'll probably look pretty fucked up in
Yeah,
one way or another.
Listen, it might come out of the oven looking like a burnt batch of chocolate chip cookies, but we owe it to them to give them the time necessary to cook and then overcook that batch of cookies. Okay, so we get them, and then I extend this metaphor to something about eating them and tasting like crap, eating them anyways, and selling 1 billion of them. I don't know. You understand? It's all very complicated.
So did they arrest this guy that did this?
They did. Or they think they caught him. He's like 17. He's in the UK. He's a little hacker man, and they're pretty sure. I hear that he's in custody.
Well, they can pretty much bury this kid if they want to.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because Rockstar is strictly speaking a UK company, right? So they have slightly different laws over in the United Kingdom. It might be that pulling this shit was a somehow even worse idea over there than it would be elsewhere. I mean, not like, I don't know. As far as like countries with some form of democracy, this kid could have done worse, but like still, maybe not a great move.
Are you saying that he's going to be, hung, drawn, and quartered, or tarred and feathered, or some archaic medieval torture?
No, probably just put in prison for 6 months to a year, and then forbidden to touch a computer of any kind for several years after that, and then he'll have a big nasty mark on his record, and the only people who hire him will be some software tech company that wants somebody with those sort of skills. A security company, perhaps. I don't know. I don't know how these things work. Think I know what hackers are like? I knew one in my whole life. It was 15 years ago. Not a good base. Not a good base, right, to work with. You need more than one.
What are the odds this becomes the basis for the next Watch Dogs game? Some hacker kid is breaking into their fictional game company.
If they have any,
there you go.
If they have the wits about them,
shenanigans.
They either just stop making Watch Dogs or they make that. Either one would be fine.
Yeah.
That's another game that's on Game Pass that I don't know. There's a lot of Ubisoft games, but it's that Taco Bell thing, right? It's all the same shit. Same 6 ingredients. It's like, what? Play one every 2 years and then don't touch them otherwise. And I fucked up and I tried Far Cry 5, so now I have to sit and cool my heels for a while.
I would call Shadow of War the Chipotle to Ubisoft's Taco Bell.
Nice.
Similar ingredients, way better.
Yeah.
Fewer shitstorms.
Literal, yeah. Okay, I hear you.
And figurative.
Actual poop, of course,
Yep. Anyway, news. Rhett, what do you think about GTA?
What did I think of the footage, or what do I think of the leak?
Well, let's get to the footage, because the leak's the leak.
Honestly, I liked what I saw. I thought it was cool. There had been rumors that the protagonists, it was probably going to be a duo of protagonists, a male and a female. And I was happy to see it confirmed, especially given that I don't know if you guys have seen the stuff, but it really gave off Pulp Fiction vibes. The opening scene of Pulp Fiction, those two at the diner talking to each other, and that sort of trailer park Bonnie and Clyde kind of thing that they're going for. It seems like it's going to be cool. Yeah, and nice to, I think we all knew that we were going back to Vice City, but nice to get that confirmation. It's about time. So I liked what I saw, to be honest.
What are the odds with that 2-character Bonnie and Clyde sort of thing that this will be co-op?
Yeah.
Possible?
It's possible. I feel like they have such a good thing going with GTA Online that they might not feel the need to innovate like that. Because like it's such a cash cow seems too small. Some sort of money mammoth. But like it's possible they might be like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Also, is the push to like co-op of any sort like that, like campaign co-op is like generally pretty limited unless I'm like really forgetting a lot of huge contenders. Like you get like anything that Joseph Ferris makes, of course, is couch co-op because the man is singularly obsessed with the idea and will push it until he's actually dead in the ground. But other than that, it's kind of a short list. So, but if they did do it, that'd be fucking rad.
Yeah. I mean, there's no couch co-op in Halo Infinite anymore.
Yeah, didn't they just like decide that was just not a thing? They were like, nah, too hard, fuck it.
Like right? And then they shit-canned Bonnie Ross because I'm certain Phil Spencer read that news himself in his Xbox office, his palatial Xbox office, and phoned up 343 and immediately fired Bonnie and said, no, you've gone too far. Somebody else has to take the helm. We're putting co-op back in. Just wait. That announcement has to be coming. Like, we decided to do it after fan feedback.
Your faith in this institution is admirable.
I just really want that game to be good. It's not. And it should be. And they fucked it up so bad so many times.
I wish I could comment more on this because Halo is such a massive franchise, but also my Halo experience is limited specifically to local multiplayer at a friend's house for like 1 and 2 back in the day. After that, like that's all my Halo time. Like beyond that, I got nothing. So I can't really speak to like what should or should not be happening with the franchise going forward.
That's it. It shouldn't have done anything beyond that. That's as high as it went.
Which in that case, that means that it was sort of left by the wayside and fondly remembered. And, you know, one of those things where it's like, oh man, it's like, you remember GoldenEye, you remember Halo, you know what I mean? You remember those games? They really ruled. They were so good. Instead of trying to like drag its weird bloaty corpse into the fucking sunlight year after year.
Yeah, but if they had just made 10 to 15 cool ass Halo missions that you can play with a buddy or 4 buddies, and that was Halo Infinite, that's a better game. As easily a better game than what they put out, which is a lifeless, boring, open world with nothing to do and trash Halo missions. There's 1, maybe 2 good Halo missions in the whole game. Anyway, going back to Rockstar, Rhett, this is a side note, but you're going to appreciate this. Not too long ago, I was at a brewery, and there was a guy sitting at the bar, and this dude was a dead ringer for Arthur Morgan.
Wow.
He had the side cut. Yeah. He had the flat brim cowboy hat. This guy, I don't know if he was basing himself on Arthur Morgan, but
maybe.
God damn, if I didn't want to walk over and be like, Arthur?
Right, yeah. He would have known exactly.
He would have.
Yeah.
He would have.
Still, that he didn't, and it was just like a complete coincidence. Just like, oh, this perfect Red Dead cosplay? I have no idea. What are you talking about? I'm just an actual cowboy. Get out of here.
Yeah, my name's Zeke, not Arthur.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So, some of the other news that's dropped in the weeks and weeks and weeks, and some would say months since we last recorded, has been a veritable tide of game announcements. So, I posit to you boys, has there been anything that came out in the last little while, announcement-wise? Anything that was announced, anything that was brought up, anything that with a fresh new trailer that really caught your eye that you were like, oh, fuck, can't wait for that? Or the opposite, where you saw it and you're like, whew, that's going to be apocalyptic when that drops.
I'll take the easy one. God of War Ragnarok looks unbelievable.
Yeah. Yep.
Looks like they will continue their trend of fantastic storytelling and fun gameplay. Can't wait to fight Thor. It's gonna be good. It'll be real good.
I'll throw a random one, kind of curveball one at you here. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre game that's going to be coming out. They just released some footage of it, and I think it looks pretty sweet. I was a big fan of the Friday the 13th game, and this one just looks like more of that. But
so it's like another asynchronous multiplayer kind of thing.
4v3, yep. And
Awesome.
it looks like each character is going to have their abilities are going to mean more to the actual gameplay. You know, the way the ebbs and flows of a match. The characters are going to be able to like have a hand in much more than I think, especially with like Friday the 13th, using that as an example. I was reading about one character has an ability to like break a lock at any time, for example, which can like turn the tides of a match in an instant if you need to get out a certain door to win even. Yeah, it looks pretty good. The maps that they showed off as well, the one map that they showed off, it looks pretty cool. It's a house from the first movie. Yeah.
Nice.
Those games always hinge on the maps, and too often they're I don't know, lifeless, you know, uninspired. Here's a small group of cabins in a forest. Again, come on.
Yep.
James, what about you?
Well, I would love to say the new Zelda game, Tears of the Kingdom, but I don't really feel like we've seen enough to get hyped. You know what I mean? Like, I'm technically aware that it exists and it has a hard date for when it's coming out, but like, I couldn't, even under duress, really come up with any tangible thing like about it, you know? But like, conceptually, I'm like, okay, it's cool that game is happening and that it's definitely happening. It's happening next year. That's pretty sick. There's a lot of like space games. There's a lot of like, holy fuck, there's a lot of farming sims. Like the Nintendo Switch Direct that dropped a couple of weeks ago was mostly farming sims by weight. There was like a couple of life sims from Square Enix, Harvestella, and various Day Life. There was like Fae Farm. There was like the new Story of Seasons. There was Rune Factory. An embarrassment of riches for people who love to pretend to farm. Otherwise, kind of a bleak offering. A lot of cool little things happening. Octopath Traveler 2. It's weird. I'm not hyped about that one, but I feel confident that it's going to be up my alley. It's like Bravely Default 2. I knew nothing about it before it was coming out. I was like, oh, that's probably going to be good. And it was. So it's like, it's weird. I'm not hyped, but I'm ready for that shit. Although, you know, one awesome thing about Octopath Traveler 2 is they let a whole bunch of the characters speak, and I didn't hear anybody with any incomprehensible, made-up, quasi-Shakespearean fucking accents. So that was cool. Putting these and thous in places they got no business being. That was great.
It's immediately an upgrade to that game.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. You can't... Rhett?
I was just no, sorry. I was about to switch subjects, so go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if you're gonna make up old-timey sounding English, there's actually kind of a way to do it where it sounds, you know, legit and real. And if you don't follow those little rules, it just makes you sound like you're ad-libbing, which you do not want for a game or a story with a carefully written script. Makes you seem like a fucking amateur, you know? Yeah, that's all.
I was going to say that Resident Evil 4 remake Probably more so than Texas Chainsaw. Yeah, that first trailer for that, I was like, oh yeah, sign me up.
It's about time.
Yeah.
That one's interesting because for years, people would refer to that one as like one of the certain people refer to it as one of the best Resident Evil games. And it was never like, oh, I can't wait for them to remake this. It was always just like, oh, that's like the best one. That's like the one before they started going downhill. And that was kind of like where the rising tide started to dip. And interesting to see how they buff it up and upgrade it in such a way that sort of honors the original and its sort of groundbreaking nature, but at the same time pushes new boundaries because the new versions of the games and the new games have been fucking excellent, and it'd be a real disservice to not try to like capture some of that as well. Kind of a tough balance to strike, really. You know, strictly speaking. Yeah, a lot of like pharma games, a lot of space games, a lot of vague 2023 business, a lot of it'll get here at some point. All I will say, seeing that trailer for the new God of War really made me feel like I should actually play the game, the first one.
Ooh, James.
I'm
my God.
I'm sorry.
Come on, buddy.
It's just I hack and slash games need.
Oh, it's not a hack and slash game, bro. It is so far from a hack and slash.
I think you really need to
measured combat.
Yeah, very much so.
With serious consequences, but without the you're dying because we decided you're dying Dark Souls bullshit.
Do you agree, Paul, though, that I think that you need to play the first 3?
No.
For
no.
God of to land as well as it did,
absolutely
though.
not.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Well, maybe you don't need to play 1 through 3, but you definitely need to find yourself a PSP and play Ghosts of Sparta.
Oh, see, I've never played that one.
There you go.
Really?
Listen,
nobody's allowed to play Ragnarok until they beat Ghosts of Sparta.
You guys, I'm going to tell you right now, if I actually successfully play the 2018 God of War, that will be achievement enough. Getting me to go through the entire back catalog would be a monumental task, I would probably need to take a month off work and also want to do that. 2 very serious hurdles I don't know that I can clear, but I promise before November, I will do my level best to play the PS4 God of War. I know it is an excellent fucking game. It's just I bounced so hard off the originals that it was very difficult to make the leap to the new one. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like mechanically, they just did not resonate with me in a way where it's like, well, the new one's going to have to be pretty amazing, but you know,
I suspect. I don't think there's a person on Earth that can get an hour into that game and not want to continue.
That's fair.
The storytelling is so good compared to the vast majority of game experiences out there, and a lot of it has to do with the reliance on the single camera shot. You know, it puts you in the shoes of the character way more often than any other game out there. Hopefully Ragnarok continues that, but
yeah,
you know, the relationship between Kratos and the boy, oh, it's good stuff. Good stuff, man.
So good.
A couple of games that aren't really getting any love that I wanted to bring up. One is Forspoken, which I don't know. It sounds like it's written horribly.
Well, there was a trailer that dropped that has a lot of, let's call them Whedonisms.
Yeah.
Which people, the shine is kind of worn off the apple for that particular style of writing for a lot of people. And it hit kind of like that, where people are like, oh, it turns out we hate that now. So is it the whole game going to be like that? Or is that just like you guys really cranking it up for a little 1 minute, 30-second teaser? Like, what's the scoop?
Well, I mean, it looks really fun. The combat looks awesome. The traversal looks pretty cool. So I was giving it the benefit of the doubt and watched a longer gameplay demonstration of it. And nope, that's how it's written.
God, that is unfortunate.
The quippy nonsense and I don't know, just unnatural reactions to things. Little out of hand. Game still looks really fun. Maybe you can play it on mute. I don't know.
I do that all the time with games where it's just like, I'm sorry, you don't pass my threshold of fucking sound. I'm going to a podcast or a fucking YouTube series or something while I dive into the mechanics and really get to the moment-to-moment business. But like,
who knows? Maybe the Japanese voices are the way to go.
I generally, with Square Enix games, I try to do English because even if it's not amazing, it's pretty funny when they fail. Where they're just like, I think Donkey said it best, where games have a normal mode and a funny mode, and why would you ever not pick the funny mode? Like, what would possess you not to do that? And Square, some of their dialogue for that is like pretty great, but like maybe Forspoken will cross that threshold where it's just like, no, I can't do this. I'm sorry.
Pretty painful, but yeah.
When is that coming out?
I think they said February. You know,
Jesus.
the 2023 dumping ground.
Yeah. God, super sorry to everybody's wallets for once again February becoming the hell month.
It might have been January. Maybe it's January. But what is coming out in February and looks fun as hell? Hogwarts Legacy.
Oh yeah.
It looks like a fun time.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really speak to it because I haven't seen a whole lot of material, but from what I hear,
they showed a relatively long trailer of, I think it was at State of Play, where it was one of the PlayStation exclusive missions or something, and I don't know. It sounded interesting.
Yeah,
looked like a good mystery. It had weirdly horror vibes, so it makes me wonder if this is going to tackle a bunch of different, flavors and genres along the way.
I maintain that you cannot look cool using a magic wand.
Oh no, you can't.
Listen. The game might have a lot of upsides, might be a lot of cool shit about it. You just look like a dork waving one of those around. There's no getting around it.
Yeah.
Unless you've got a spell that transforms your wand into a giant axe or something, like
you're not using a wand anymore. That's the only way you can escape it. It's like with the Fantastic Beasts movies. Like, I watched the first one because I was dating somebody at the time who was like really into the franchise. But then every trailer for every movie after that is just like, look at these grown-ass adults flinging these fucking wands around. Like, I'm sorry, guys. You're just not selling me on this.
Would it make a difference if, as people got older, they made the transition to a more grown-up wand? If someone's swinging a whole ass tree branch around, is that better?
That's a staff, and you have escaped the prison. But as long as you're using a wand, you're fuckoed, friend. Rhett, have you ever seen somebody look cool using a magic wand?
God, no. But I do agree that as you get older, maybe the wand should become a bit, I don't know, a bit bigger, a bit girthier, maybe, it should be something that an adult could wield. Yeah.
Thank you for working the word girthy into that.
Yeah.
Well,
a little wand with a little heft.
That was low hanging. That was the low hanging.
A low hanging wand would probably be good,
Cool.
Yeah.
But I do agree.
Any-
You know, that before we go on, I was just going to say that game it kind of was giving me bully vibes. You know, you go to
Ooh.
class, you hang
Yeah.
out on the grounds. It's cool. I'm looking forward to that one as well.
Yeah.
And early on, I was a little worried they were going to go the whole games as a service. This is a giant living world sort of route, but it sounds like you play this thing in your own little world. Like you're not sharing it with anybody unless you're playing co-op.
Mhm.
Which,
That-
hey,
Is it Warner Brothers publishing that, or
so
because they're real big on games as a service. They really love extracting additional value out of properties.
I remember it was one of the trailers that came out. They were very specific to say that your Hogwarts is your Hogwarts.
Okay,
Whatever you do to it, it's your game.
Great. I look forward to that continuing to be true up through the final release.
That said, I will also probably play Gotham Knights, even if it's questionable whether it will be any good.
Yeah. There as well. I want to check it out. It's been in production for too long. I have to assume that they're cooking up something worthwhile. Hopefully. I want to like it. I guess that's what I'm saying. I want to like it.
Well, yeah.
I mean, personally, I can't wait to play in a world where 99% of the players have chosen to play as Nightwing.
That's a good point. The roster is pretty limited.
Come on. You can't tell me that people are going to choose Robin.
No.
Well, sometimes a smaller, more nimble character will end up with some incredibly annoying ability. And if players have the chance to be a huge pain in the ass, they will absolutely take that opportunity, you know? So you might have your big, cool, brooding bruisers like Nightwing, but what if you could be really annoying? That'd be cool, right?
I mean, I suspect that'll be Batgirl, but
I mean,
never say never.
I feel like a lot of the Bat family has that potential in them.
Yeah. She might be the glass cannon.
God, I fucking love a glass cannon. Hook me up with a glass cannon any day of the week, baby.
Jump in there, 1 billion damage, and I need somebody to res me.
Yeah, exactly. I got most of the attack off. The battle's half done. Please bring me back.
Res me before the reward drops.
Yeah, if possible. Thanks, please.
Thanks,
yeah.
Yeah. Any other news that stood out for anybody?
E3's back.
Yeah, they had dates. I'm curious how I'll feel about going when the time comes to sign up. Because this last June, it was obviously, well, no, I would never do that. And traveling south seems sort of fraught. But my wife has also done it twice in the last couple of months, and she turned out fine. So, but of course,
I mean, the question is, will it be worth it? You know, people got around that. They were sending out demo keys and time limited things all over the place last year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you really need to go and persevere in the LACC for 3 to 4 days?
Well, for me, it's kind of about, do you want to go and drink and work and maybe party and just be a fucking weirdo for like 5 or 6 days? It's just like,
we can work out. Yes.
Yeah, we can work out whether or not it's worth it afterwards. We can just look at the post game and say, oh yeah, we definitely should have done that, or no. But also, it's a convention. It's a convention-sized event. You're almost certainly coming away from that with the COVID. You just are, man.
Yeah.
Unless the Omicron vaccine really, really kicks the shit out of this thing, which it simply cannot. in the States. Like the vax rates do not support this premise. So like, or you go to the event with like the most powerful mask ever manufactured, but like just going in like looking like Bane, just like fucking ventilators and filters and shit like that. That razor one with like the fucking lights and whatnot. Just
I was thinking more like a Mandalorian helmet.
yeah, part cosplay, part essential health service. Be curious. See how I feel in like the January in the new year, because maybe I'll have given up. Maybe I'm like, nah, fuck it. I will just take the risk, or maybe it'll seem even less worth it than it does now.
I've given up. This skate game was my complete undoing, just in general. There was no getting past it. There was no moving on. Nothing happened past your skate game.
I had a very terrible day today, and it will mark me indelibly. But I promise I will recover and rise from the ashes like a scraggly phoenix with like 5 or 6 feathers left. I'll be back.
Just squawking away.
Yeah.
Can't wait. Can't wait, man.
It's gonna be fucking excellent. That's what it's gonna be.
All right. What else? Or should we get out of here?
Well, I think aside from the space games and the farm games and whatever the fuck Nintendo is doing and God of War, I feel like we've covered a lot of the bases. And if we haven't covered those bases, listeners, it's up to you to let us know, because we will probably not check otherwise.
You can tell us and we will ignore you.
No, listen, if you reach out and say, hey, press X to podcast, you fucked up, you didn't mention this thing, and I see that message, I promise I will bring it up in the next episode. I'll say, you know what? We didn't talk about X. So there we go. But you got to reach out.
And I'm going to say we're only going to do that if you throw a coin to your Witcher.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Because, Henry Cavill, he's out there swinging.
Mm-hmm.
He's on his way to Skelligan. He's going to...
I added that song to the game, actually. So I was riding... Yeah, I was going through Novigrad yesterday, and a band was playing it out on the street.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
Modded Witcher 3 sounds pretty good.
What's that? Sorry? Oh, Modded Witcher 3. Man, it's fantastic. Yeah, there's pages and pages as far as the eye can see of mods, and
that seems like a game with a kind of delicate balance, where it's just like, oh, if you fuck with something the wrong way, the whole game will turn into rubber bands and other nightmares.
Extremely delicate. Yeah.
Okay.
I've had to completely reinstall the game 3 times. There have been, it's extremely delicate. Now I've got like 80 mods installed at this point, and getting them all scripted and merged together. It's an extremely delicate process, but I think it's worth it. Because the game, it's a 2015 game, and my goodness, you put a little bit of work into it, and it puts stuff from this year to shame. It's crazy how good it looks.
I guess it's got really good bones,
Yeah, really good bones. Who would have thought CD Projekt Red could actually make a game?
I mean, in 2015, I would have said, yeah, they can make a game.
Yeah. Talking about No Man's Sky, the opinion of Cyberpunk is slowly but surely changing. A lot of people online now, people think that it's pretty good now.
I feel like maybe Edge Runners might also be helping give it some good press. Yeah. That one takes great pains to remind you in a positive way of the game. They use the same sound for when a call's incoming on your chip or whatever on your system. It's like, boom, 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 like that one or whatever.
Yeah.
Like they use that same noise. It's the same font and everything else for like the in-text like breakdown and stuff like that. The Night City looks extremely familiar. It's like it's just what you remember from the fucking game. It's kind of remarkable, actually.
Yeah.
Also, Studio Trigger simply can't miss. So check that shit out if you haven't.
One last question. Of the pages and pages and pages of The Witcher 3 mods, what percentage would you say are horny?
Surprisingly, not many. Like, I usually just go to like the most downloaded all time section, and I'll just go page after page, and those are pretty clean. The the Triss and Yennefer scantily clad stuff, you do have to search for, I find. Not that I've applied. No, I'm truly not that I've applied any of those, but
I had to look long and hard to get those installed. Let me tell you.
You can Windows shop without applying. That's totally fine.
Yeah,
okay?
totally. So, I was just seeing what was out there.
Yes, of course.
Right?
Appreciating the artwork.
Oh man, these people they put a lot of work in, a lot of hours to do that stuff. So.
Well, on that note, I think we should get out of here, fellas.
All right.
It's been a wonderful reunion, and let's do this more. Let's do this again. Let's do this many times.
Yeah.
Yes.
Next Monday, should we? Are we going to stream next Monday?
I think we can stream. We can stream.
Excellent. Well.
Yeah. Generally speaking, I have Mondays blocked off, so like, I'm always down. Down.
Cool. Let's find something 3-player and get at it.
Let's do
Get
it.
into that shit.
Well, folks, this has been Press X the podcast. I don't think we said the name of the podcast once in the last hour, but that's what this is. That's what this was. That's who we are. And we'll see you again soon for more video game stuff. How does that sound? Sounds pretty
fantastic.
Good,
Sounds fucking amazing.
All right. Well, take care, everybody. And we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.